Hey, welcome to the WHO Radio Wise Guys weekend wrap-up show, as we like to call it.
It's what Dan likes to call it.
What's Saturday, July 16th, 2011.
Tells you how close Dan is with the times.
I've been waiting on you to get this camera set up forever.
Yeah, and I've even lowered my chair just to make the height differential between us look.
He did not lower his chair. I really am this much taller than Brian.
Anyway, let's go for the stories. We didn't get a chance to get to during the WHO Radio Wise Guys today.
Well, a couple things here. First of all, Microsoft is warning users that the end of Windows XP really is coming. They've been saying this for a long time now, and there's been campaigns and petitions and marches on Washington to get them to, I may have made that last one up, to get them to not get rid of XP because a lot of people use XP. Mm-hmm. In fact, I didn't know this, Brian, but it's estimated 51% of the computers on the planet are running Windows XP.
Seems like a large number to me, but it's possible.
But Microsoft has said it's coming to an end because Windows 7 has been out for now a couple of years, mm-hmm. and before that we had, the operating system that shall not be named, Vista, and now we have Windows 8 coming out here probably in about another year. So it's time for XP to go away. And pretty soon, third-party developers and people like that, they're going to stop having updates for this thing too. So if you're running a computer that has XP on it, you might seriously want to think about in the next year or two getting something else.
It's reasonable to stay up to speed on these things. We knew this day was coming at some point or another. It doesn't mean that it'll stop working for you, but it means that no further updates are going to be available. And as we know, updates are pretty critical for things like security.
And Microsoft has actually said that the end of the updates, the end of the XP will come in April of 2014. That means when April of 2014 rolls around, that's it. They're going to stop doing updates. They're going to stop doing patches. That's it. You're on your own at that point. So you've been warned.
And that's not bad for planned obsolescence anyway. That still gives you a couple of years yet still to deal with an operating system that is now, in fact, 2 full generations out of date. So it's not really that bad.
Yes, and believe me, Microsoft will have plenty of other operating systems by that time that will suck, and you'll be able to rely on Windows 7 for quite some time. So Microsoft also has a new avenue for making some money. Their new cash cow, believe it or not, is the Android operating system. And what this means is that Microsoft lawyers have figured out that a lot of companies that are using the Android operating system in their smartphones and their tablets mm-hmm. are actually, according to Microsoft attorneys, infringing on patents by Microsoft. So Microsoft is either suing or requesting a license fee from these companies. For example, HTC Corporation, which is a huge Taiwanese smartphone maker.
In fact, this is being recorded on an HTC right now.
Yes. HTC now has agreed to pay Microsoft $5 for every Android phone they sell now from here on out.
And this is again because Microsoft made software that the Android-based phones are using as part of their systems or built upon. So they're demanding a licensing fee. And
there's a whole slew of other companies like HTC, like Samsung, and some of these other companies that make these phones and tablets that Microsoft is now going after to get in their back pockets and get money out of them. So Microsoft stands to make estimated about $1 billion a year on this for doing nothing. Well, they're creating nothing.
See, that's not true. It's a totally legitimate thing for Microsoft to do. They're entitled to their intellectual property, so they're entitled to get licensing fees for that. They are. And so it's perfectly reasonable for them to go
after. Yes, and I don't argue that with them.
So they did do something. They're just claiming their checks for it now.
I just think it's cheesy, but that's me.
But if you were Microsoft, you'd go right for it and do it yourself.
Well, probably would, yeah.
Absolutely would. We talked a bit about today about the Netflix price hike, though, as well. Got some people up in arms. Some people are canceling their subscriptions over it.
Netflix, I tell you, Netflix is this service where you can, like we discussed on the show, you can have them literally mail you a DVD mm-hmm. in the mail for a movie, and then you watch it as many times as you want, and then you send it back. It costs you nothing extra. They pay the postage. Or you can get online on their streaming service and get their content that way. And they just decided that they're going to almost double their price. They're going from $10 a month to $16 a month, and they're offering nothing new. There's absolutely nothing new. In fact, that's their biggest complaint from users is that their content, especially on the streaming side, is all old stuff, like the original Star Trek series, and Green Acres and stuff like that. There's nothing new there, and it's one of the things that's kept me from signing up for Netflix, honestly.
But again, you can't necessarily blame Netflix for doing this. They've got a lock on this market. They have no serious competition. They really don't have any serious competition.
Okay.
People can go to Redbox. You can rent videos there for $1 a day.
Love Redbox. Love it.
But there's a limited selection. You talk about a limited selection. You have the 60 titles that are in any particular Redbox available to you, or else you have to drive to the next one. It's not a lot of them. Meanwhile, you have Hulu, which streams online for television content mainly.
I don't know anybody that uses Hulu.
Oh, I use Hulu a lot. I enjoy it.
The paid service?
But the paid service is a different story.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
I don't know anybody that does that.
But they don't focus on movies. Meanwhile, I mean, they do have some, but they don't really focus on it. Meanwhile, then you have YouTube now offering movies that they're charging pretty hefty fees for. It's not a cheap option there. So you might end up paying $15 if you watch 3 movies off of YouTube streaming, whereas you could then just pay your $15 or $16 for the new Netflix plan and still have access to what they have. So they're still offering more for less, I would say, in many cases, than their competition. I think they're just charging more for it now than they were before.
I maintain the biggest draw for Netflix was their cheap price.
Well, it was definitely a huge attraction. $10 a month is pretty attractive. But I don't see a lot of people. I see some people leaving over this. I don't see huge numbers of people exiting the program when they go to, the $16 fee.
I'm not even going to get into it. I seriously was thinking about signing up for it, and now I'm not going to.
Well, it might be an impediment to letting you in.
Okay. Last but not least on our list, the Pentagon has now decided to make public their strategy for fighting cyber wars.
Okay.
They they have come out with a paper describing how they will deal with cyber wars, both internal and external to the Pentagon. So.
And if you believe that what's in this printed report that's being shown to the entire universe, including China, which is responsible for most of the cyber terrorism against us today, and you think that everything that's in this report is going to be factual and complete, you got another thing coming.
Well, we'll see.
It's just not going to be comprehensive.
There are some parts of it. There are some parts of it that are classified, and we don't get to see.
I would imagine huge portions.
Yeah, but there's evidently a 12-page summary of the strategy that has been released and being reviewed by media personnel and not us. So.
No, I'm going to read the thing. I'm curious now.
Yeah, you can tell me about it later.
I guess we can talk about it next week on the WHO Radio Wise Guys. Speaking of, if you have questions about trends, tips, technology, or anything else that we can do to give you a hand with things that might be driving you crazy, you can hit us up now on Facebook. We're the WHO Radio Wise Guys there. You can also go to Google+, where we are sending out more free invitations to people. So we're on Google+. You can ask us that way as well. We're the WHO Radio Wise Guys there. And you can always, of course, send your emails to wiseguys@whoradio.com. All easy ways to get a hold of us.
And, of course, we're on the air every Saturday at 1 o'clock here in Des Moines, Iowa. You can tune in and listen to us live on our stream at whoradio.com. We are the WHO Radio Wise Guys. I'm Dan Adams.
And I'm Brian Gongol.
And we'll be back next week to do it all over again. Thank you very much.